Hello, it's Peter Merrick. I'm taking my early morning walk down the shores of La Jolla, San Diego, California, and today we're going to be talking about the offspring of really successful entrepreneurs and where they screw up and what you can do to prevent it. And I feel that I happen to have a little bit of knowledge on the topic because I've been dealing with successful business owners for the past 30 years, helping them transition from one stage of their life, building up their business, to transitioning to the next stage, which should be their best stage, which is their last stage. So there's two sayings that come to mind. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Spare the rod, spoil the child. The second saying that comes to mind when I think of the offspring of really successful people who made something out of nothing is this. Good times create tyrants. Bad times create men. Because it's only through the friction of our experiences that make us strong. If you've ever worked out, and I've tried to do it once or twice in my life, it's only through the stress of your muscles that build a muscle. Many business owners that I met come from nothing, and what they had was hunger and a vision, and they wanted to go and create something out of nothing, and they wanted to go and see it materialize in the five sensible world, and they did it. There's one issue. It's not something that is built in someone's blood that's going to cause them to be successful. It is a hunger. It's also coming against challenges. And you know what the problem is for many business owners who do it themselves? They either ignore their children altogether, or they want to remove every single obstacle their children are going to face. So their children won't know what to do because they've never had those challenges. I know an individual that I would sit down every Friday and we would smoke cigars and drink cognac. Very successful guy from Eastern Europe. He would tell stories about how poor he was, that his entire family of five lived in a 400 square foot apartment with no running water or flush toilets, that they had to share toilets with everyone else in the apartment complex. He had nothing. And he created something incredible where he had a home that was over 25,000 square feet. He had a car collection worth over $60 million. He had all the toys in the world. He also was a tough hombre. If you go into business and dealing with them, you started off with your digits, your four fingers, and your one thumb. You might not leave with all of them when you were done. So one day I'm sitting next to him and I'm working on researching The King of Main Street, my last book, which deals with business, mentorship, succession, and legacy. And he was one of the people I was observing, because here was someone who did it. He came with nothing from Eastern Europe, and he was worth several $100 million. And I asked him, I said, what would happen if your son met someone like you in business? And what he said to me is telling. And if you have a successful business, listen to his answer. He turned to me and he said, I don't want to think about it, because he knew he had created a puffball to spare the rod, spoil the child. Good times create tyrants, and many successful people create tyrants. They did a study at the University of Boston of families worth over $100 to $200 million, and they found out there were two types of children that come from these self-made people with money. Either they were so cautious they could turn coal into diamonds, You know what I mean? I'm not going to be explicit with that. But they were so wound up tight. Or they were super reckless. They were crazy. They'd blow all the money. They were spoiled. They were drug addicts. They were like screwed up. They were like, they were sad human bags of flesh. That's what the University of Boston discovered when they studied really successful, super mega uber wealthy families of people who came from people who actually did something from nothing. One time I went into a client's factory business and he was sharing with me that kids don't work as hard as he did. Well, his story was he came to the country with $300 and he built a business worth over $150 million, and none of his kids went to university because they all knew they could work for daddy's business. And then I looked out into the parking lot and I saw all these beautiful cars, and they belonged to his children. I asked him, why do you kids have these beautiful cars? He says they're good cars, they don't break down. These are cars worth $60,000 to $100,000. These are cars that I don't drive because I have to pay for it. And I looked at him and I said, you're full of shit. You bought those cars for them because when you were their age, you wish you had those cars. But you stole from your children because they don't know what it takes to do it. And you got immediate gratification, but it is detrimental for them. Because people don't understand that once you actually have an experience, everything that you do from them, you see through those eyes and you forget. You forget what it took to get there. It's not in someone's blood. It's in their vision of the world they want, and it's that feeling of accomplishment of doing something that they believe they couldn't do before. And what a lot of business owners do who make it from nothing is they steal that away from their children. And it is literally stealing it. And each of us want to protect our children, but sometimes we protect them too much. So let me share with you the success I've seen and how people have done it right with transitioning. One is they tell their kids, there's no place for you here, and they don't give their kids anything. And their kids go out and they go and make it themselves. And you know what happens? Dad and mom go to little Johnny or little Sally and they say, please, please work for the company because the company's going to go bust. The company won't last without you, please. And they beg them. And the children are doing the parents a favor by taking it over. The second way to pass on a business to a child to figure out if they're working in the business is give them a gift. This comes from my good friend Tom Dean. And he says, give them a gift of like $50,000, $100,000, something, it depends how wealthy you are, and tell the kids that they can invest it in anything they want. But also let them know that they can buy shares in the business because the business isn't theirs. And what they do with that money is going to be very telling of who your child is. If they take that money and they put it back into the business to buy shares, you have an owner. Because my good friend Tom says, when you give someone a gift, you're doing several things to them. When you get a gift, do you give it away? Do you think that you can change it? But if you create an owner of your children, they will move forward and they'll create things. By giving something away for nothing, you're going to go and create children that will create nothing. And that's not what a parent wants. I'm going to continue this discussion over the next few weeks, over the next few months, because I've got a lot of stories of people that I've actually worked with who, yes, they have children, and one of their motivations for being so successful was to provide for their children. In some cases, that has also destroyed their children. If you like this video, please give me a like. Please share. Make a comment, and if we're not connected, follow me. Have an awesome day, and I'm looking forward to taking off my hat and for it to get warmer. Have an awesome day.